Hey guys, so I finally got our internet fixed for real this time. So I've fallen behind on uploading stuff for Inktober, so I'm gonna start combining episodes if that's okay. Let me know if you're okay with this, or if you would prefer me to barrage your subscription feed with a bunch of uploads for individual episodes. Anyway, let's start out with day 3 then. So on day 3, I actually went over to my friend's house and we biked around where we live and hung out for my one friend's birthday. I brought over a bunch of loose leaf tea and we decided to have some of the birthday tea from Adagio that I had. I always really like the look of how the cream looks when it goes into tea, so I ended up recording it. Also, here's their cat. Her name is Beans and she's a cute little old lady cat. When chatting about Inktober with my friend, she actually showed me that she had all different types of ink and writing pens and brushes, including this really snazzy glass one. We mostly just kind of played around with all the different inks and made a bunch of marks, and I made a couple of small, really whatever doodles. And she even let me take some home and borrow it for the Inktober challenge. While I was there, I doodled this crystal and then I brought that home to ink. So during the testing out phase, I discovered that the brushes that I was excited to use, I talked about it a little bit in day 2. These brushes are kind of garbage. The 05 instantly fell apart when I took it out of the package. I could feel at the top where the glue was. It's almost like it never dried completely, or it just was the wrong type of glue. The other 2 brushes so far haven't fallen apart. You could probably see me a few times in the video actually put the tip of the brush back onto the shaft of the brush. The brush itself was also really rough and hard, and it spread out. The bristles spread out instantly. So even though I would shape it when I grabbed ink, it would quickly make this V shape and started messing up my inking, so it was super frustrating, especially when I was so excited to try out these new brushes. I might actually see if I can return them because they're so bad and they fell apart. Oh, and it also couldn't hold any ink at all. I would make half a line and I would have to get more ink. It was really annoying. But since I said I'd use it on day 3, I did, and to kind of make up for such a bad inking experience, I decided to use some of my Copics to throw some color in there. And the ink that I'm using for this one was a blue writing ink that my friend let me borrow. I think she said she got it at a Renaissance fair once, and they're kind of a couple years old, and they're not as opaque as I typically like, but that might be just because I'm used to digital inking. But for the ink being a ton of years old, it still worked surprisingly well. I also think coloring this piece helped it a lot, even though I didn't really look at a reference for the colors like I did for the line art. I actually forget, I think it was an amethyst crystal that I was looking at when I drew this. But yeah, overall, it was not a fun experience, drawing with this brush. I think if I had just spent money on a nicer brush instead of trying to go a cheaper route, I would have had a much better experience. So I think when I actually have money to spend on some brushes, I'm going to try and get something that's a little bit nicer than hopefully the one I just got. For day 4, I used the brush that I liked from the ones that my friend had. She also let me borrow this red Liquitex acrylic ink. I wanted to do something that went with the red ink, so I went with a rose. This brush felt so much nicer when I was inking. Then the ink was also a lot more opaque, which is what I'm used to. The brush was also longer, so it like held a lot more ink, so I didn't feel like I was dipping it back into the ink bottle every 5 seconds. Working on this one after the frustration of day 3 was just really nice. It felt like this brush is like butter comparatively. It just like felt really, it was nice. The only negative thing I can think about this brush is since it is longer, I kind of had a little bit harder time with like control. Like I would lift the pen up and then because the brush, I wasn't expecting the brush to be longer, my stroke would keep happening, so my strokes would go a little bit longer than I wanted, but that just seems more like something I need to get used to than an actual issue with the brush. I don't really plan on coloring my rose, but I will be putting these up on my Etsy, and I will have the links below in the video description box when they're up. And let me know if you've ever gotten a art supply that you were super excited for and then just like was complete garbage. Thanks for watching. Bye.